What's up, Big 12 Nation? It is Tuesday night in America. Did you miss me? That can mean only one thing. It is time for another edition of your favorite YouTube-centric Big 12 college football show. That's right. It's the one. It's the only. It is the biggest 12 with me, your host, Clint Foster, wherever you are. Thanks for making us a part of your Tuesday night. It's been a minute, but I'm excited. Well, I'm not excited to talk about anything related to TCU, but I'm excited to talk about Big 12 football, that sport that we both love and hate oh so much. And it's so kind to some of us and very harmful to the rest of us. A lot of great guests. We got a fearsome foursome in here to talk all things Big 12 football. But before we get to any of that, you know I need something from you. I need you to subscribe to the show. Let's get the ticker going here. But you know the ad. It's at Big 12 BOCFB. And at TCU VOCFB. Really do subscribe to that Big 12 channel. We are oh so desperately close to 1,000 subscribers, and that will mean the world if you can help us get there. So please, 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 please do that. We're going to have it running down there the whole time so you won't forget. And you can subscribe. So subscribe. And while you're hitting subscribe buttons, go ahead and subscribe to my personal channel at Clint Foster Creations. Check out Remember the Alamo Bowl. I'm in the planning stages of another documentary short. So keep your eyes open for that. And hopefully, around Thanksgiving week, hopefully I'll have a chance to finally make some more sketches for you. Middle school football season's over. So we got, I'm slightly returning to a semi-normal schedule in my life. And hopefully y'all will be the primary beneficiaries of that. I'll just continue to not sleep. Also, make sure that you're following the Voice of College Football on all of your social media accounts. At the VOCFB, that's on Twitter, on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter at Clint_Foster55. And check us out wherever you get your podcasts, Amazon, Apple, Spotify. We're in all the places. Make us a part of your daily commute, your daily life, okay? We got lots of great content for you. So, without further ado, let me welcome in my guests. You know them all. You love them all. They need no introduction, but I'm going to give it to them anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Brownie, we got Bomber, and we got Steve from Feeble Attached. Gentlemen, how are you on this fine Tuesday night?
Good.
Peachy.
Wonderful.
Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And the chat's already popping off. Love it. Okay, so breaking news that we got to talk about right off the bat. Sam Leavitt talking about moving on from Arizona State to the highest bidder. He's had a little bit of injury issues this year. We actually had Kenny Dillingham on the mic begging Tempe area restaurants to start using NIL opportunities for his players. Gentlemen, what's your read on the Sam Leavitt situation? Brownie, I know you heard some things in the rumor mill that may or may not be true about the price he's commanding. What do y'all all think? What are you thinking?
I think it's wild. I mean, you're talking about a redshirt sophomore that honestly could have declared for the draft at the end of this season, especially if he stayed healthy, and probably was going to be a top 10 pick and probably one of the top 3 quarterbacks off the board. It was an extremely, from my personal thought, like an extremely weak quarterback class going into it. So I feel like, yeah, he wasn't going to go into a really shitty situation. But I do find it kind of interesting that they're now playing around with money to see if he can get more for one more year. But honestly, it's high risk, high reward, right? Because you might come back for another year and it might be a season-ending one. Like we don't know, and obviously hindsight being 2020, and you wish that you could look into the future. But I think it's kind of crazy that he's willing to throw all of the chemistry and stuff that he has at Arizona State, unless him and his camp know something that we just don't know at Arizona State.
It's interesting because Arizona State has seemed to be one of the more progressive programs within the Big 12 and in the country on the NIL front. And Kenny Dillingham has really been at the forefront of more of a players coach movement. Even going so far as to quote tweet players who are leaving saying, whoever gets this guy is going to have a great player. That's just something that you don't see coaches do. And it's something that I've really enjoyed about Kenny Dillingham, despite me having a secondary allegiance through my wife to Arizona football. So because of that, I'm not really allowed to like Kenny Dillingham, but it's just the culture that he's brought to Tempe and to the Big 12 in general is something that is really interesting and something that I think we've seen, with similar cases such as Matthew Sluka, Nico Iamaleava, and now Sam Levitt. The grass is not always completely greener on the other side, especially if you're doing this mid-season.
Yeah, here's that Dillingham quote I was referencing, and then Bomber, I'd love to hear your take. He said, every restaurant, if you don't have a food item named after an Arizona State Sun Devil, why? I don't get it. $500 a month, $1,000 a month. Our success leads to more success in local business. We're a revenue generator for the city. It's not just restaurants. It's car companies. It's literally everything we can get involved. Bomber, what's your take on this whole Levitt situation?
So we have cautionary tales, right? 2 years ago, DJ Ugalele went to Florida State, and his career basically fell apart. Nobody's talking about him being in the NFL anytime soon. And then we had Shedeur Sanders, who was supposed to be a number 1 pick, slipped to 5, and now is being laughed out of Cleveland for how poor his play is. How much better would it have been for him to stick in Colorado one more year? How much more money would he have made in Boulder this year? How much more successful would they have been if he would have stuck around? I don't know. It's arguable whether he was even that good. BYU made him look pedestrian. And I think the next year, everybody's going to learn on that. But I guarantee that's what the NFL has on film for him. And so Levitt has been talked about for an NFL quarterback, no problem. The problem's going to be his injuries. His injury history has not been great. And now we have a situation where is ASU going to be the top bidder? Carson Beck went from Georgia, of all places, to Miami to make $6 million plus. That's more than he's going to make as a second or third round draft pick as a quarterback in the NFL. So unless you're going to be in the first round, there's really no reason to jump to the NFL. So then the only question comes in, what's your quality of life? What do you value more, money or chemistry? And it's arguable whether you could win easier in one conference over the other. I think Levitt's a great quarterback. I think I say good. I think he has some holes in his games that Kim Scadaboo made up a huge difference for last year. This year, he hasn't had that kind of protection, and now he's gotten hurt, and he's had a lot more challenges this year. So I think if he stays at ASU, it's probably his easiest way to succeed and get paid, maybe one of the top amounts to stay. But if he wants money, if he's wanting to go to the NFL, there's not the worst thing in the world to go to an Ohio State or Miami or a Georgia.
Yeah, and I think realistically, it's got to be Miami or Georgia because Ohio State has Sayin, and you're not going to bench.
Yep.
They're not going to bench Sayin for him. Maybe Michigan, while Michigan tries to figure it out a little bit.
They got Bryce Underwood, man.
They got Bryce Underwood at $12 million. They're not.
Oh, that's true. That's a big dollar amount.
Yeah.
But I mean,
of course,
that's the whole risk reward thing, though. Like, do you think that Levitt would rather, I guess, go to a national championship contender as the starting quarterback, or like to a team that just needs that quarterback? But
just wherever Lane Kiffin is.
Like, is he going to go to Ole Miss or wherever Lane Kiffin is mysteriously walking off of jets?
Or is it a desperate situation where a team who is going to have a first-year coach and needs a proven collegiate quarterback to come in and rock the ship for them for a year? Like, speaking of like a Virginia Tech or even in the league, like in Oklahoma State, if they were really desperate and wanting to win immediately, I could see doing worse than Sam Levitt. He is definitely a solid quarterback. I think all of our concerns and thoughts are definitely fair on how good of a quarterback he is, but he's won a conference championship as a quarterback, although Cam Scadaboo was kind of, the arms, legs, and brawn of that entire team. Sam Levitt was still there. So, and Jordan Tyson was as well. That was what I was
Meanwhile, Chris is speaking all of our fears into existence here. Sam Levitt is the future Red Raider.
It could happen, although Will Hammond is a fantastic quarterback, and he's coming back off of injury. I think as a backup, if you're Will Levitt, do you go, or Sam Levitt, do you go to Texas Tech and potentially sit on the bench, right? I don't know. These are questions everybody has to answer them themselves. Well, I do know this. Just moving isn't necessarily a guarantee for success. In fact, you could argue some have gone backwards.
Grass isn't always greener. Well, gentlemen, let's move on ahead to dope and cope for this past week. Since we didn't have a show last week, I'll actually open up to 2 weeks if you want to say anything from the past 2 weeks that you thought was dope or cope. Brownie, would you like to go first?
Heck yeah. I'll start us off from the previous week.
Yeah, so, I figured you might.
Yeah. Dope. Iowa State beat TCU.
Yeah, you did.
Also dope. I got Buc-ee's, so that was awesome.
There you go.
And I got
a lot of barbecue. You got Joe T's. Yeah, we treated you right.
That was a pretty dope week. Dishfish. I'm kind of upset that he's not floating around the chat right now. The little jerk. Got to see him for a little bit too. My cope was definitely Clint Foster post game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
There's Dishfish. I brought him into existence.
There he is. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you act like I wasn't any fun. Like we
Oh no, we had an absolute blast. Like it was absolutely awesome. But like, just like every time like we started bringing up the football game, like Clint was like, "Man, fuck this shit." It was awesome. Yeah. So I think that was going to be my dope and cope from like last week. This week. I think my dope is going to actually go out to the previous breaking news of the Big Ten's proposed equity deal for their new media deal that basically says that everybody is on the same level as Rutgers unless you are Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, USC, or Oregon. So that's super dope just because I hate the Hawkeyes and that'll kick him down a little peg. And honestly, my cope for this week is just kind of all of the losers in the Big 12 because there was a lot of hate going on through my like Twitter feed on Sunday from everybody who had a loss. Like Cincinnati was coming out of left field. TCU was having a rough go of it. Like I know you and I were texting through some feelings and I told you to drink some Everclear. But I mean, like there was just a lot. There's just too much for me to go over everything. But yeah, the Big 12 was not having themselves a good week on Twitter. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Steve, what was your dope and cope of the past week?
So I'll go 2 weeks as well. My dope of 2 weeks ago was really getting to see West Virginia kind of get off the schneid and get a home win. They've been playing a lot better over the last stretch here, and so that was good to see them bring that hard edge and intensity and get a win over Colorado, a team who is also struggling, but somebody had to win that game. We do not currently have ties in college football, so I was glad to see West Virginia get a home win. My cope from 2 weeks ago, UCF. I don't know if you guys know this as Big 12 people, but our friends from the American UCF, they had a record of 8-0 leading into this space game against Houston, and Houston now owns space and the space game. So, and as someone who, shall we say, was invested in the outcome of the UCF game, I was definitely coping with that result. And then this past weekend, the dope thing for me was to see, Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech just be able to line up in the formation, score a touchdown, hit the Heisman pose. I'm loving that Texas Tech has a defense for the first time potentially ever. I don't remember them ever playing defense before. Great clip from exactly. Yeah, it's been a long time since they've played defense in West Texas, so I was happy about that. And cope I will give to myself because I did attend the Arizona-Cincinnati game, and as I mentioned, my wife is an Arizona alum, and she mentioned to me right after the game, well, you can try to beat us in basketball again next year. So since Cincinnati and Arizona have been in the same conference, we've lost a football game, a basketball game, and an entire weekend baseball series to Arizona. So, I think my wife's alma mater is just going to perpetually have the crown. So house divided, and in our house, Arizona, the Arizona flag flies over the day.
Bomber, hit us. Dub and cope.
Well, BYU keeps winning, so that's you can call it whatever you want. I think the cope, and it's going to continue to be the problem for the Big 12 is how do they get a second team in, right? I think it's foregone conclusion Texas Tech is in, and they've earned it, right? They beat everybody, so they have deserved, well, except for ASU, but the conditions were different at that time. So I just don't know what the strategy could possibly be at the Big 12 offices to get over this hump that says the Big 12 isn't a two-bid league, or more for that matter. Utah is maybe arguably the hottest team in all the country. They're not going to get a chance to play if BYU and Texas Tech win out. They're going to be playing and hoping that they get rescued at the end of the day. And I think what we're seeing now in the CFP is to have the world recognize you're doing good and yet not reward you. And it's a problem in the Big 12 that I still, the problem has not been fixed. And I don't know that it can be fixed, to be honest with you. When you have a Notre Dame that's going to get in almost every year with 2 losses, doesn't really matter who they lose to or when they lose. That spot is technically really a Big 12 spot. Same with the ACC. Last year, I would put it as a little bit of an aberration. But if that same season happened this year and it wasn't Clemson, you're not getting 2 teams in. They'll pick the best team out of the ACC, and they just won't take the champion. So, and that's what Miami currently is right now. So, I in some way, shape, or form, we have to fix this riddle. There's some way that we can go where if you have a team that only loses 1 game in conference all season and then loses a conference championship game, they're not going to be in the CFP. I'm sorry, it's just way ugly, and I don't know what the Big 12 can do to fix it.
No.
Would you like to see them post some of those similar graphics that the ACC account has been posting, where the blind resume? And...
Those are largely pathetic, to be honest with you.
See,
go ahead.
I understand. No, I completely agree with you, and I think obviously we're going to pick on the ACC here, but I do think they make a point, and where BYU can get in. I mean, I know Utah at least wants to be the enemy of the rest of the Big 12, but if Utah keeps winning by 30 points, like maybe, unfortunately for BYU fans, they might get in as well. I think it's going to be about kind of gaming those strength of schedule, strength of record metrics, and getting those style point wins. And I'm sure Clint was really crushed to see Baylor lose by multiple touchdowns this past weekend at home.
If there was a dope from this last week, that was it. But it was Utah that did it, so it's like,
yes. So
I was voting for the Meteor.
It's easy to say that Utah's beating everybody like a drum, but if you really look at their strength of record and their strength of schedule, it's a lot worse than even BYU's is, let alone Texas Tech's. So
we're trying to pump them up right now.
I don't really care.
Connor says, "Screw your Big 12 camaraderie."
What I'm looking for leadership. I'm looking for leadership from Brett Yormark. The one thing he can control is when he gets and speaks in front of the press. How often he's up. Why isn't he the second week of the season standing up and saying, "Yep, all my teams, every one of them, I want to get 3 teams in"? He doesn't do that. And he's just as bad as Jim Phillips is. So is it something that maybe carries the day? I don't know. It might, depending if Miami gets in and Virginia, if they win out, doesn't. But the larger storyline is the system is so broken. Can it be fixed at 12 teams? Is the only way to make it better for the Big 12? We go all the way to 24 to try to bring in as many of those teams in as you can. Because 16, you're still not going to. You're going to have mostly SEC and Big 10 schools, even in that pick. So it's just a tough deal.
Yeah.
Bring back.
I'm gonna.
Dang it.
Honestly, yeah, it would be way better. At least then you knew what you were doing.
I like the metrics. Publish the metrics. That way people can manage to the metrics.
Yeah. Well, I'll do my dope and quote quick because I know you got a hard out, Bummer, and I want you to be able to talk about this BYU Cincinnati game.
Sure.
My dope, we'll go back 2 weeks. I got to give a shout out to West Virginia for being the official John Denver Bowl champions, beating Colorado.
They did,
week.
didn't they? Yes.
They did do that. So you got that and the Pitt game to hang your hat on, if nothing else. And my cope, Sonny Dykes is just an unstoppable bad idea machine when he's on the mic. That man it's impossible for him to not say something incredibly stupid, particularly after a loss. He's just been doing a whole lot of that. The vibes are not high. But as far as good vibes go, you talked about Cincinnati owning space, Steve. I have to say that there is only one Big 12 city that has a flag on the moon, and it is not Orlando. It is not Cincinnati. Pascal High School, right down the street from TCU in Fort Worth, has a flag on the moon.
Wow. Okay.
From Alan Bean in 1950. Okay, Apollo 12. So,
wow.
If anybody owns space, hey, only one of us has a flag up there.
Wait a second. 1950?
Yeah, Apollo 12. Yes.
No.
Oh wait, no, he's a class of 50.
I was gonna say
1950.
I'm looking at the
they hadn't even put missiles into
Sputnik.
space. So
I was going to
it was
say,
in the 70s. Here's the.
when was
I'll show you
Sputnik?
the. I was reading the flag.
Okay.
When I said that. See, class.
I'm
of
just teasing
1950
you.
Pascal.
I don't care.
Yeah,
It's fine.
yeah.
I'm totally
Yeah.
okay with it.
There we go.